I'm Adam Reese, and I'm going to show you a couple ways that we can improve the extension of our hip and our hip flexor length. Okay, so a lot of people are walking around with tight hip flexors. It's probably the #1 thing that I see with people walking in the door. And the hip flexor is just this complex right here. You have 4 of them. You have your rectus, your iliacus, your psoas, and your TFL that sits on the side. And what we're going to do today is we're going to grab a band. This is just a medium level strength band from Elite FTS, and we're going to put it around somewhere secure. Right now we have it around the A-frame where we do all of our pull-ups. And what you're going to do, you're just going to pull up. Be careful of your pull it up right there in the top of your like the crease between your butt and your hamstring is what you want. You want to, that's the spot that you want to hit. And then we're going to go back. We're going to pull that back in position, so we're in a hip flexor stretch position. We're going to internally rotate our knee with our knee and our foot so everything's in line. And we're going to get that in the right place, and then we're going to flex up our butt as hard as we can. And that's going to, the band is going to be pulling our femur forward, and our butt's going to be keeping our hip flex, or our pelvis in a good position. So our hip flexor, my hip flexor is sitting here just stretching out like crazy. You do this for a minute or two, and or until you feel that improvement in your tissues. And you get up, and then we're going to turn around. Same thing on the opposite side. Again, be careful of your guys, or your girls, for that matter. You're going to get it right up in there, right in the front of your hip where everything converges. Okay, so all those hip flexors converge right in front of your hip. Okay, so we don't really hit them all. So you're going to get that right in front, just like so. You're going to pull on that hip flexor, and you're just going to, again, flex up your butt. Keep that knee in alignment with your heel, your hip, and your toe underneath your ankle. You're just going to pull on that hip flexor. Really tighten your butt, tighten your abs, and that's going to pull on that hip. Sit there for 1 or 2 minutes, and then switch sides. That's just a quick way that we can get your hip flexors to loosen up real easy. If your hip flexors aren't loosened up, you're losing performance. Your hamstring is probably going to have a lot of trouble. You might have a lot of pulled hamstrings. If you have a lot of rectus tightness, you're going to have a lot of strains in your quads. You're also just not going to perform as well. You're not going to be as fast. Your glute's not going to function as well. Your glute is the strongest extensor of your hip, and the extensor of your hip is the power behind running. So if we can't run, we can't move fast, we're not going to be a very good athlete. So we got to get our hip flexors loosened up so our butt can work.